And welcome back to You Like It? We don't. I'm one of your three hosts, Urbia.
I'm Jay.
And I'm Maeve. Oh my god, Urbia's back! Oh shit, when did this happen?
Yes, I'm back. I was away doing, suspicious activities I can't really talk about on this podcast.
I mean, you were traveling America, essentially.
Yeah, I'm not jealous. Not even slightly.
Yeah, and while doing my suspicious activities, I saw Black Panther in the theaters.
You had about 2 hours, between suspicious activities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While dropping off the radar, every now and then there's a beep, and then it's going through the cinema, and then he drops off the radar again. But how fortuitous! Isn't it amazing that we also happened to see Black Panther?
Yes.
Isn't it an amazing coincidence?
Oh.
Almost feels scripted.
Yes.
So, Black Panther!
Yeah.
Yes, this will be our review of Black Panther. We're not going to go in depth into the story. We're just going to assume that whoever sees this has watched it.
Yeah.
I mean, that movie is insanely popular at this point.
Yes,
It's breaking box office records. It's making money hand over fist. Everyone's seen it.
Yes.
Everyone has seen it now.
So, major spoilers ahead.
Yeah.
Major spoilers ahead. We're going to first go through what we didn't like about the movie. We're going to say what we liked about the movie. And then we're going to go into...
And then we're going to just have a brief discussion of a few news articles and other information we found interesting regarding Black Panther, what it's incited, the emotions it seems to have triggered, both good and bad. Try to give as unbiased an opinion as possible. So, as I said before, like a butter across sandpaper, let's segue right into the beginning of the movie.
Yes. Alright, guys, who would like to start us off?
Okay, I'll start off. I've got a nitpick, but it sort of falls away depending on which version of the one you saw. And in which country you saw it.
True, because I don't
Down
have
here in
this
South
problem.
Africa, they don't seem to have discovered yet that when you put on the 3D glasses to watch a movie, that they need to turn up the brightness.
Yes.
So I'm not 100% sure what happened in the first 10 minutes or so of the movie, because I couldn't see jack.
Yeah. It was very, very dark in the cinemas over here. In South Africa, they like to charge you extra to go see the movie in 3D, obviously. But
No, that's everywhere. Yeah.
oh yeah, that's everywhere. But you see, as opposed to everywhere else, they don't turn up the brightness, so you're paying more for an inferior version of watching the movie because you can't see anything.
So I guess the first point we make on this Black Panther review is South Africa needs to turn up the brightness on its 3D movies.
Yes, because honestly, we couldn't see shit. Especially in the beginning where there's the whole stealth segment, in the middle of the night. All I saw were muzzle flashes. That's all I saw. It was just people shooting, and then that was it.
Although Black Panther, I have to admit, is not really that stealthy in the beginning of the movie when you think about it. I mean, okay, none of the people were able to see him, but, they were triggered when they saw a barking dog. I'm not a spec of expert, but surely the first thing you do is you make sure that the animals can't see you. But okay, I fully acknowledge that I'm nitpicking here. From then on, I could see everything, I could hear everything. So it's just the first 10 minutes.
Well, yeah, but that's because the first 10 minutes are the darkest minutes in the movie. But that does bring up a good point. The beginning of the movie, why did Black Panther have to go into stealth mode? why didn't he just drop from the plane onto the car in front of them and just fuck shit up? Because there was no point in him going stealthy. Because,
maybe he wanted to get the people away from the hostages. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, but then he kind of messed that up, though.
Oh, he did mess that up.
They still caught them. I don't know. Sorry, they didn't catch them. They caught him.
Yeah, and they saw him immediately. But okay.
Yeah. That's one part of the movie I didn't really like, because like in the comics, supposedly he's one of the smartest people in the world. Like he's up there with Reed Richards,
he's
with Tony Stark.
He's actually on genius level intellect. But what they did was in the movie they sort of veered away from the comics. They made his sister the genius, and they made him the all round badass. So,
right.
Well, not all round, because he's not like Tony Stark, where he's literally the all round badass. He's a genius, and he's a superhero.
Yeah, but I liked the character of his sister. So, although it's a deviation from the comic books, it's something that I feel hurts the story.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I think it actually adds to the story. Because it was kind of funny to see the interplay between the both of them.
Yeah, the idea of sibling rivalry, but one of them is a king with martial arts and an impenetrable suit. The other one has, an entire mind full of vibranium and is genius level intellect. The possibilities are endless.
Yes, that is very true. So I guess the beginning, I think we can all say it was probably one of the least enjoyable parts.
No, I did like the comedy of the beginning, like the very beginning when like they were in Compton and then like this African women just came out of nowhere. I found that hilarious. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Okay, yeah, true.
That was hilarious. Like, and like before we knew Forrest Whitaker's character was part of Wakanda, and then he was like the straight guy. He was like, "What the fuck is going on?" He was like, "Get on one knee." I'm like, "What? Oh, okay, one knee." I mean, the beginning was a little bit of a mixed bag, but overall,
and so,
it was pretty good.
And then after he rescues the hostages, meets his girlfriend, and reacts the way I would seeing a hot girl, stunned silence.
Yes.
We move on to the next scene.
Oh yeah, he did act like he saw her and he froze.
It's like, and then, also like me, after seeing a hot girl when she's moved on, I go, totally nailed that.
Yeah.
They then move on to the city, fortunately in daylight this time. I know this is, again, not the biggest criticism of a movie, but they clearly got the B team to do the CG in this movie. Especially the rhinos in the city.
Yeah, the CG wasn't that great. I will say one thing, though. People were complaining a lot about the CG with the final battle, but that didn't really bother me too much.
Well, fortunately, the rhinos basically made a cameo in it, so there wasn't that much CG in it. Now, the CG for me killed me when I saw the city. That city did not look realistic at all. Unfortunately, when you get down to ground level, they did much better. But the sort of aerial view, which is supposed to be the most stunning impact of this hyper advanced city, when that looks bad, it sort of takes the awe away.
I mean, look, overall though, cinematography was fantastic in the movie.
I can ignore it because, like, the costume design.
We were supposed to start with the bad things and then move on to the good parts. We're mixing both together in the same thing. Okay, no, you know what? It's fine. Let's just keep doing this. We'll mention one bad thing, one good thing, and just keep it rolling.
The CGI wasn't as good, but the costume design in this movie was really good. Like, the different tribes, they all looked different in their own way. And, like, they modernized it as well while making it look tribal. Like, I can applaud them for that.
You know what is pretty cool? And this I will definitely give the movie mad props for. Me and Margin, we've lived most of our life. Well, Margin's lived his entire life. I lived most of my life in South Africa, and I can honestly say that they did a great job depicting South African tribal culture.
Yes, well, African.
Yes.
Tribal culture in general. The
Yeah,
guy
yeah.
with that lip thing, that's not that's not native to here, but that is a genuine thing that does happen.
That does happen in
Africa.
Africa.
So they had that perfect mix of authenticity and modernism. You know how you would perfectly modernize an African culture if you wanted to get the sort of Japan feel where ancient culture and modern technology mix. So that stuff worked amazingly well. I do have to give them chops for that. It is, like most people say, a very positive depiction of Africa and African culture. It dispels a few bad myths that were obviously misconstrued or misunderstood, and various other reasons. Although their government is not exactly the most equal thing, now that we really think about it. I mean, they have a king, and only royal blood noblemen can actually stand to become king through tribal combat. So
yes, and
it's the most
it's
advanced
tribal
country in
yes.
Africa, but they operate on the feudal system.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't it also kind of strange that the tribes? I mean, okay, we only saw one other tribe. We saw the gorilla tribe, if I'm not mistaken.
No, we saw several.
No.
No, we saw all. Yeah.
No. I know we saw all of them, but I'm referring to we only saw one of the tribes' places where they stay.
Yes,
was
the
the
gorilla
gorilla
tribe.
tribe.
Yeah, one.
And the Wakandan, I'm guessing, main capital.
Although no, the brother, the one that raises the rhinos.
No, that
I'm
was
assuming
just outside Wakanda, though. That wasn't in.
it's not in the city, but it's just outside. So
Yeah,
I'm
but
assuming
that
that's where they stay.
But yeah, but there isn't really a village. They're just there to kind of like protect against invading.
Yeah,
forces.
that's like border security.
Yeah.
Who gets that job? who has to live outside the city and pretend to be poor and filthy?
That does suck. Like, I was wondering, actually, like, do these guys actually have to stay outside the city the entire time? Or when their shift is over, can they go back to the city and, be in luxury again? Because, I mean...
It's not a bad job now that I think about it. I mean, all you have to do is wake up in the morning, go outside the city, look poor, destitute, and filthy.
Feed some rhinos.
Go back home, put on your robe, watch TV. I'm assuming they've got amazing internet there. I mean, I'm assuming vibranium is like even better than fiber.
Yes,
Yeah,
no, vibranium because it can do literally everything. Not only just in this movie, but in the comics as well. It can heal you. It can
make you fly.
It supports cities and mega structures. This, that. I'm pretty sure that the internet over there
Must be awesome.
Yes, like 1 terabit a second.
Like they don't even measure speed because everything's instant. Like.
Exactly. There's actually no point in even measuring at that point because everything's already. It's like 4K video. As soon as you click, already buffered. It's done. It's finished. Whatever.
I'd watch the video then, even if it wasn't what I wanted to see. It's buffered. It's there. Okay, I might as well watch.
I would purposely torrent the largest file I could. Like 100 gigabyte movie.
They can probably kill it. Like download internet. It's like done.
Yeah, download. Yes, exactly. You find the button where it says download internet. Okay, it's done. You downloaded everything on the internet.
And you just delete it.
You just delete it, and then you download it again. So yeah, I mean, that was okay. I don't know, guys. What did you think of the whole vibranium thing? Literally doing everything. That kind of was a little bit annoying for me. That those bowls that he used in the beginning, he used to make the cars just stop. Remember?
Yeah.
And then those same exact bowls he shoved into the spinal cord of someone else. and then
It
stabilizes him. I mean, what else can these balls do?
I don't know. You should try them out sometime.
Best Viagra substitute ever.
If vibranium actually existed, I would try those balls on everything I could find. I like PlayStation controller. Let's see what happens if I add this ball to it, this vibranium ball. It turns into this super mech, and I'm in the game.
I can understand that vibranium is obviously a valuable metal, but the second you could heal people with it, it crossed the line from valuable to ridiculous.
Yeah, because
I think that was the moment where I stopped taking vibranium seriously. I was just you can use vibranium as a suntan lotion, you can use vibranium as a tissue. If you're constipated, swallow a little vibranium. Viagra's not working, swallow a little vibranium.
Yes.
Your teeth fall out. Just look at some vibranium and they grow back. It got ridiculous after a while, unfortunately.
Okay, actually going back to the whole segregation of Wakanda in itself, they say that it's supposed to be this very advanced civilization, but they still determine who becomes king through combat.
Only certain people can apply to combat the king.
Yes.
So it's not like anyone can just...
Yes,
if it was that anyone could challenge the king, okay, then this criticism would fall away. It's still an odd way to pick your leader, although elections haven't been panning out that well the past few years, have they? So... it's an odd way to pick your leader, but I could sort of see where it comes from.
However, I would have loved to see Hillary and Donald Trump duke it out, huh?
Yeah,
And they
right.
both die.
Well, that would have been amazing. I wouldn't care then who would have been the next president. Okay, whatever. It doesn't matter. I got to see the match of the century.
Oh my God. That would be the worst thing ever.
2 people in their 60s with a spear. Oh, imagine Donald Trump wearing what Black Panther was wearing in that combat. Oh, no, it's
no.
No, it would be pretty funny to see Donald Trump picking up Hillary Clinton, throwing her off a waterfall.
Yes.
I was God damn.
So, guys, getting back, let's get back to the story, because that was quite a tangent that we did on. What did you guys like? I think the first hour of the movie was a little bit pointless.
Well, they did have the coronation and him being confirmed as king.
The beginning is fine, but every part with what's that one mercenary's name again?
Claw.
Claw. Yes.
Yeah.
He he was pretty funny in certain scenes, but every time I saw him on screen, all I was thinking, because they mentioned in the beginning of the movie, he has been evading us for 30 years, and we've ignored him for 30 years, and every time I saw him on screen, all I could think was, really? This guy? Really? This guy?
This is the criminal genius that slaughtered your king.
Yes.
He doesn't look like he can cross the street without going, whoa! That was awesome.
He didn't slaughter the king, but he was stealing Wakandan technology and everything, but really?
Yeah.
He shoots a one of those tables that you get in the gambling casinos, and then money flies everywhere and cards fly everywhere. It's I made it rain. And by the way, that accent that he was doing is a full-blown Afrikaans accent.
And as someone that speaks Afrikaans, I have to admit, yeah, he pretty much nailed that accent.
He did a great job with the accent. I have to give props to the actor.
No, he nailed the accent perfectly. And the CIA guy.
No, he also
everybody nailed their accents quite well, except for the American actors.
I don't like the CIA guy. he was pointless in the movie.
Well, he was a pointless character, but in terms of his accent,
because he's actually an English actor.
Yeah,
He's an
yeah.
English actor, and I didn't think his American accent was too bad. I mean, I was trying to hear because I heard some people say that it's pretty bad, but when I was listening to it, I was okay. No, it's not really
the bad accent was the main villain. He had a bad accent.
No, the main villain,
No,
but
he's American. He's
American.
American.
He is American.
Yeah, that's not an intimidating accent.
Wow. Okay.
Well, okay, Urbia, I know that you and Vajin have vastly differing opinions of the main villain.
Yeah.
But like as I said, I think like the guy was funny in certain, Claw was funny in certain situations, but he sort of played no big role. And when Killmonger killed him, that came out of nowhere. I was like, what was your plan then? You broke him out of prison so that you could kill him?
Why did he need him to steal the vibranium axe anyway?
Yes, he didn't need him to steal the vibranium axe.
Why would the vibranium axe work?
Yeah, the entire plan revolving around Claw made no sense. I feel like the writer wrote the Killmonger story, realized that it was only about an hour and 15 minutes long,
and then crowbarred
Claw in because they didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Because that entire thing with Claw changes nothing in the story.
Although it does give us a cartoon joke.
Oh yeah. Can we please talk about the
What cartoon joke? Yeah.
Oh, the humor was bad. The humor was pretty
bad.
I
think the worst one, for us at least, was in the Hong Kong scene where Claw leans out of the car with his gun, shoots
his vibranium
sound wave, because vibranium has sound, which is a vibration, but okay, let me not dwell on that. He shoots the car, it blows up, the general lands on the bonnet, and the girlfriend is in the seat, still holding the steering wheel.
Yeah.
Like, when I saw that, I was like, okay, so now Marvel has gone full Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Which is funny, because Warner Brothers owns Looney Tunes, and Warner Brothers also owns the DC universe, so, like, what is going on? What is going on, Marvel? What are you doing?
Kept expecting the screen to, touch screen to go down into the pigeonhole, the pig to go.
That's all, folks. Yeah, like it was terrible.
What a twist!
I don't know. Urbia, what did you think of the humor in general? There were some scenes which were funny, but most of it was flat.
The beginning was very funny, and like throughout the movie, it wasn't too funny. The one joke I did laugh at was when Claw was like, he has a SoundCloud account with a mixtape. I was like, okay, that's kind of funny.
That came out of nowhere.
That's why I found it funny. It was like out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting it. Like, it wasn't too funny. It was just unexpected, but it made me chuckle a little.
Yeah. It wasn't funny. It was just...
I don't know. Maybe they were trying to go for "it's so bad, it's good" joke.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was like it was purposely corny, but that's why I laughed at it.
No, but you see, that's the issue, I think, with Marvel in general. Oh, and also Star Wars, but let's not get into
Same
that.
Thing.
It's just they're going for corny jokes, and they're just not that funny. The humor was really flat in the movie, in my opinion, at least. Like I think I laughed once.
Yeah, the banter between Black Panther and his sister. That
wasn't so much funny as it was endearing. It was like, yeah, this is how
a
brother and sister would be like. So,
sure.
I don't know. The humor was...
What is it with Disney and their casino scenes?
Oh, yeah.
Why did they try to tell us?
Right.
Loot boxes. Loot boxes. It must be it.
Yes.
They know it's gambling. That's why there's a casino scene in every movie now.
Exactly. Now just watch.
Illuminati confirmed, guys.
Infinity War, I think, is next. The entire movie will be in a casino.
No, there was that funny moment at the end where the Rhino is charging at the head warrior chick, and he just stops in his tracks and then licks her, because that took me out of the movie for a moment. I was like, oh wait a minute, that's the Rhino would know her. I wasn't even expecting that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is, it wasn't funny so much as it was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's true. That is what would have happened in that situation. It wasn't really funny, though. I do know that Margin, for some reason, laughed at something which was very unfunny, which was so strange.
Funny. It was funny. Okay, what I laughed at was in the climactic scene. It's the tribes are fighting, Black Panther's in the thick of it, and he manages to get himself smacked
by a
rhino. And then they literally focus on him as he floats through the air. There's the and then he hits a rock. That's funny, because you could see as he was flying through the air, he was thinking, shit, this is gonna hurt.
It's like, oh, damn it, not again.
I remember two more funny scenes. When they called the CIA guy a colonizer, that was kind of funny. And when they were at the mountain tribe with the gorillas, and the guy was like, "I'll feed you to my children," and then quiet pause. I'm just kidding. We're vegetarians here.
I don't know. That was. I don't know. I didn't find that funny.
For me. That's in the same light as the soundtrack's coming out next month.
Yes, yeah, that was. There's no build up to the joke, so it's not funny.
I laughed at that.
It's funny because it's shock humor, and I don't know.
It just occurred to me. There were only two white people in the actor. One was Afrikaans, one was American. Ironically, they call the American the colonizer. America never colonized anyone.
Yeah,
no. The other side did.
America colonized
were the ones,
a lot.
Yeah, the Afrikaans.
America never colonized any.
No, they colonized a lot.
You could argue they took away.
You see, what they did was they took Africans from Africa and brought them to America. But they never actually colonized. Colonization.
They did. They colonized Liberia. But Liberia. that was Black Americans colonized Liberia. They colonized the Philippines. They colonized
Colonized the Philippines?
Yeah, they colonized.
I never knew that they colonized the Philippines.
Okay. It's just that if you're gonna call colonizer, the Afrikaans guy was the more obvious joke there.
Well, but okay.
That's just beyond
during the entire movie, though, he is by far the most racist.
Yeah.
So. But the thing is, he played the part pretty well, because there are, unfortunately, people like that in South Africa.
Old problems. They don't go away, do they?
No, unfortunately not. So, hey. But yeah, I think the movie would have been better if it would have been maybe an hour and a half movie that just focused on Killmonger.
Yeah.
I think it would have been a better movie, because that was the entire movie plot, and Paul was just shoved in there for no reason. But okay, guys, let's give our opinions. What did you guys think of the main villain?
He's one of my favorite Marvel villains in this universe. I would have to say, though I hate his name. Killmonger is such a horrible name.
Killmonger is a pretty bad name.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of Killmonger. If he acted the way he was acting throughout the entire movie for only the first half, that would have made sense. But the fact is, he keeps on acting the same way throughout the movie. That sort of takes away his seriousness. If he acted, a little bit more intimidatingly after he became king, I think that would have been much more of an improvement. But he keeps on acting the same way, lower ranked soldier would after he becomes king. Which just tells me if he was king, any amount of time of passing, he would just be so ineffective at governing the country that would just collapse. At no point did I think that, yes, he could actually lead this revolution that he's planning to do. All I saw happening was he distributes the weapons, big boom, revolution flames out, and Wakanda collapses under his incompetence. It's discovered and pretty much just wiped out.
Well, the thing is, that's a what-if scenario. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. For me personally, I mean, I thought Killmonger was... I mean, again, I also agree that the name is pretty bad, but the thing is, we can't really change that. That's part of the comics. So,
Yeah.
So that, you can't really change that. In terms of how he was as a villain, I will say that out of Marvel's villains, where they barely give them any backstory or any character, I think they really nailed his character very well. I think that's what they did very nicely here, because most Marvel villains are... you can barely remember them after watching the movie. They're just there as a plot device to move the story forward and for the heroes to defeat.
Yeah, they usually don't have causes other than, money. And, like...
Money! Power!
Yeah.
Infinite strength.
Yes.
And then in Killmonger's head, he was doing a good thing, which is rare to find in Marvel movies, because usually when the bad guy's the bad guy, they're like, oh, I love being the bad guy. But no, in his head, he felt like he was doing good.
Yeah, what you can say about his character is that you get the feeling like you can sort of empathize why he did the things that he did. He took, obviously, the wrong route in doing it.
Yeah.
But he was actually worth empathizing with, because it wasn't just, for money or power or this or that,
Yeah.
So I think they did a good job with his character overall. But I mean, actually, no. I really didn't have many problems with him at all, really.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I compared him to other previous Marvel villains, and it wasn't really a big deal. Like,
well, like I said, my criticism of him is
he
has this grand plan, but looking at him, I thought, there's no way you can do that. He's an outstanding fighter, probably an amazing soldier, but as coordinating a worldwide revolution, I was just looking at him, nah, man, you're not going to be able to do this.
One thing that was a bit strange was how his plan was actually formulated, because there's a lot of situations where you think to yourself, during the process of his plan, there's so many things that could have gone wrong.
Oh, a lot.
There's so many things that could have gone wrong. Like, for instance, when they... Oh, yeah, I think that's why he needed to capture Claw to bring him to the Wakandans, but the thing that bugs me
if he just
about
showed them the ring, he would also have proved his legitimacy, remember?
Yeah,
the whole thing was, once he showed them the ring, they all knew he was of royal blood.
Yeah, he never really needed Claw to begin with. Well, okay, but we already said Claw is pretty much a throwaway character in the movie. One thing that is kind of strange, though, and I don't know if you guys noticed this, but the actual abilities of the Black Panther suit seem to change through the movie.
How do you mean?
Which is very... Okay, so, for instance, remember during the chase scene in Hong Kong? Right?
Okay.
Black Panther gets hit right in the chest by the vibranium Wakandan weapon that Claw is using. And he just shrugs it off, like, oh, okay, whatever. Like,
but when Killmonger used it, it was like a
but no. Killmonger didn't use that. Killmonger used a modern weapon. He didn't use that weapon.
Are you sure?
It blew Black Panther away and, like, sort of, like, made him, whoa, what's going on? That made no sense. Why would a grenade launcher cause that to Black
I think that was
Panther when he just got
vibranium.
hit? Sorry?
I'm pretty sure that was vibranium. When did they say it was a standard grenade launcher?
Well, the thing is, he was using a normal gun against.
This was when
And they
broke
never-
Claw out.
Yeah, when they broke Claw out.
Okay.
When they broke Claw out of jail, he was just using a normal gun against Black Panther, and it was obviously doing nothing because we already established in the beginning of the movie that it was doing nothing. And he was using normal, everyday weapons. He wasn't using
And it somehow
vibranium
discharged
weapons.
all the kinetic energy that he had stored up. Remember, his suit was glowing that purple?
Yes,
That
yes.
it had stored up kinetic energy. The grenade not only blew him back, but released all that energy.
Look, in all honesty, the thing is that entire scene happened so quickly that you don't really see what weapon he was using. But the thing is, it blew up in his face. Something exploded in Black Panther's face. And there are other reviewers who have actually said that it's not a Wakandan weapon that the guy was using.
No, it was a normal
That's
grenade
weird.
launcher.
Yeah, it was a normal explosion type weapon. And it just threw him back for some reason, and they never really give an explanation for it, which is kind of strange. There's also another thing that doesn't make sense. Remember when they were in the lab, when the CIA agent was talking with Black Panther's sister?
Yeah.
And it was just after he woke up. And he looked out, and then, she explained that she found a way to turn off the vibranium's properties.
Okay.
No, she said it's unstable once it's mined, and it needs to be kept basically rock solid when being transported across the magnetic trains.
Okay, yeah. And then she said that she came up with those things on the side.
Sonic.
Okay.
Yeah, the
dampers.
sonic, that would cause that to flow freely without any problems so that they could transport the vibranium. But the thing is, how old is she? Maximum she's 23 years old. That's how old, she looked younger in all honesty than that.
Mm-hmm.
But then at which age would she have even thought of this? 14?
And how were they transporting it?
Yes,
before?
and how were they transporting it before?
Very delicately. Guy holding a cylinder. Oh my god.
No, I imagine
Oh my
the
God.
comics probably explain that somewhere.
The thing is, remember, the comics don't have her being the genius.
Oh, true. You are correct.
So that's the thing that bugged me. It's like if she was the older sister,
Make more sense.
it would have made more sense. If she was in her 50s or something, I would have been like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. That would have been a good 30 years of this technology, which, is quite a substantial time, But as I said, when would she have thought of this? When she was 14, 15?
Okay.
Really? I don't know. That didn't make any sense to me.
Can I talk about this weakest scene in the entire movie? Or at least for me.
Which one?
Yes.
That moment where Killmonger defeats Black Panther and throws him off the waterfall. Did anyone seriously think he was dead?
Yeah, but that's in real life, that's supposed to kill people.
No, look, that is in
It's
real life.
supposed to,
yes.
but this fake out of, oh my god, he's dead, has happened so many times now. I defy anyone to look me in the eye and tell me I genuinely thought he was dead.
No,
That's
that
what-
is
Oh,
ridiculous.
yeah, obvious.
That's why that scene was so weak for me. Because every subsequent scene where they focus on the grieving family, where they talk about, what a loss it is, or how the sister is crying, first her dad and then her brother. All of these scenes are pointless and lose their emotional impact because we know he's alive.
Yeah, true.
It's a pointless trope to be used anymore. We all know the hero survives this. It doesn't work anymore. If anything, it would have been more powerful if we knew he was alive. If he was defeated, deliberately kept alive, and had to watch Killmonger implement his plans.
Yeah, that
would have been
better.
much more powerful.
Yes,
when he threw him off that waterfall, I knew, like, oh, great. Next 20 minutes, I have to deal with a bunch of crying people, crying over a man, which everybody sitting here now knows is
How much cooler would it have been if he did something akin to the Bane versus Batman thing, where he cripples
him and he has to fight his way back to hell.
He imprisons him or something.
Yeah, he cripples him, then imprisons him, and then Black Panther figures out a way, to get back and
that
to defeat
would be
him. That
10,000 times more
that would
powerful.
have been so much more powerful, because when he threw him over the waterfall, that, in my opinion, led to the worst 10 to 15 minutes of the movie for myself, simply because of just the implausibility.
But then again, like, a lot of movies do that as well. Like, Batman wasn't the only movie.
Look, that's... I will say that a lot of movies do that thing, but my main issue was how they brought him back. Because they throw him... Okay, Killmonger throws him off the waterfall. Okay? Then, at the same time, the sister and the mother and the girlfriend are fleeing with the CIA agent.
Yeah.
And they're going to the gorilla tribe, right?
Yeah.
With the one flower, the vibranium flower that she stole just before Killmonger
before he was burned.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
they set rocks on fire.
Yeah,
by the way. Wow.
So they get the flower and they go to the gorilla tribe because he was the only one who challenged Black Panther in the beginning of the movie. That's fine, but the fact that the gorilla tribe found they found Black Panther, that one of their fishermen found Black Panther in the ocean, brought him all the way up the mountains. They put him in ice to keep him alive, and then the fact that they were going to them at the exact same time this was all happening. I mean, come on. How many tribes were there in the beginning of the movie? Like a good 10 different tribes. Are you saying that none of them had fishermen at that exact spot?
Plus, it means the gorilla tribe says they're fishermen lower down the river than anyone else.
Yes. No, again.
So the guy goes from the top of the mountain to the end of the river and brings him back up.
And as two people who live in Africa, me and Majin, there is not a single place in Africa that has a mountain range like that.
No. The tallest mountain in Africa is Mount Kilimanjaro. Yes, it does have snow on it, but it's a single lonely mountain in a massive field.
Exactly. It's plains, big ass mountain, plains. It's not how it was portrayed here.
The closest we have to that is the mountain range, that is in the country of Lesotho.
But
that's how
okay. I don't know why we're talking about mountain ranges now. Like, there's
okay. I'm
more
sorry,
important things.
In any case, though, just the amount of occurrences, the amount of things that needed to happen for all of that to fit in place is just mind-boggling. It's luck on a whole new degree of luck.
Yeah.
And that is something that I don't know. As a person who likes a good written story, it just would have been better if they were going to do a cliche like throwing the guy off of a high place and then assuming that he's dead. Do the cliche where you imprison him and they escape and then they win. Because that's a better cliche because it builds more character.
Yeah, and he can be a broken man. He can feel, I failed, I'm not worthy, I am not a good representative of my ancestors, and he can build it up. Because, okay, that at least is more powerful than, is he dead? No. We know he's not.
Yeah, we know he's not dead.
But
exactly.
okay.
But
so
okay,
then...
Alright, I guess...
That
I don't
brings
know,
us to the
Urbia,
final.
do you have anything to chime in on this?
I just want to add one more thing about the story. The last fight scene when Killmonger's death scene, I feel like that was the best part of the movie, like by far.
Like I will say one thing that I agree with you on this one. They set up the whole fight scene very well, you know, because obviously they both had the Black Panther serum in them. They both had the Black Panther suit. So,
but we'll ignore the fact that the most advanced country in Africa fights with spears and swords.
but okay, I mean, you know. They wanted to stick to their tribal roots, you know, I get it. But that's not the main issue here. So they set it up very nicely. They set up the fight very nicely, and I will say, I agree with you, Urbia, the way that he killed Killmonger was pretty badass.
Yeah.
I will definitely say that, because it was an awesome scene that he had, like, literally a split second to do it in, and he actually managed to pull it off.
I hear
But
people
once-
complain about that. It's like, oh, he really didn't he didn't outthink him. Like he just did something that happened
Well,
by
the
accident.
thing is, he didn't need to outthink him. The whole point was that the two of them were supposed to be relatively evenly matched.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I mean, okay, not completely evenly matched, because we know that Killmonger is a better fighter overall. You know?
Yeah.
But in many stories, the main hero does get lucky in order to beat the main villain. So
Yeah.
that didn't bother me at all, because that happens constantly through storytelling. Because a lot of the time, they want to make an imposing villain, something that the hero needs to fight against, and that he is not capable of doing, and then when they go to face him, they do have the will to do it, but sometimes they need that little bit of luck.
True,
You know,
true.
so that for me was never an issue. That fight scene was very good. However, there are some strange, like consistency,
Continuation issues,
yeah, consistency issues during that fight. Like they pan out and they show that the bridge there's no ground on either side of the bridge. Meanwhile, in the middle of the fight, they're both flung off the bridge onto some ground, and then they go back onto the bridge. It happens very quickly. It's about a 10-second scene, but it was so jarring because I was like, wait. Wait the cliff come from? Wait the cliff come from? Wait, hold up. Don't brush it off. What's going on? But overall, though, I thought it was a great battle scene. And, I mean, Urbia, I'll leave this to you to say, but, like, you know, Killmonger's famous, you know, last words now, which are actually pretty great for a final last words from a main villain.
Yeah, like when a Black Panther asks him, you know, we can still save you. We have the technology. He was like, no, I'd rather die than live in bondage. If I could have like one request, bury me in the sea with my ancestors that like, you know, jump the ship instead of living in bondage. Like I was like, God damn, like that is so much cooler than saying, give me liberty or give me death. Like,
yes, no, it is so much cooler, and it does bring about the whole point of the movie. That the director even said it was meant to be a movie for Black empowerment, and I think it succeeded in a lot of ways. But
unfortunately, it also, you know, let it down.
Yes,
in several other ways.
Yeah, they did. The problem was that they could have come up with a better story. They could have come up with a better story because this was one of the first superhero movies, one of the actually first movies in general that had a full black cast. I mean, obviously in America, because there have been South African movies with
almost all black cast. It's not the first superhero movie, but it's the one with the most black actors. But that's why it's so sad. The cinematography was good, the portrayal was good, the motivation was good. Unfortunately, the story
let it down.
did lack.
The story did lack. But Urbia, sorry, you were trying to say?
Though I would say this is one of the first times we see a black superhero that the movie addresses black issues. Like we've seen Blade, we've seen Hancock, We seen Spawn, but like all those movies, yeah, the main character is black, but they don't really go through issues that are, genuinely a black or African American issue. But I feel like
it's true. They did decide to actually tackle some of these things head on, which is great. Which is why I think it worked as an empowering tool.
Yeah.
However, there's just one issue, which is it had to be Disney.
Oh, it had to be Disney, yeah.
Yeah, and Disney have
edgier, it needed to be punchier, and the story needed to be more original. They could have made a proper African story rather than taking an old generic story and then Africanizing it.
Yeah.
No, they could have done. They definitely could have done the story better. But okay, I guess at the same time, there was a lot riding on this.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I have a feeling like in their mind they had to go for a more plainer story because they were in a situation where they didn't want it to be a bad story, like a bad story. But it was a good enough story for what they wanted to show. So overall, it was a good movie. I mean, is there anything else that you guys would like to?
I think that's it for me. Like, I would like to move on to what other people are saying in some news about it.
Okay.
All right, okay, but I guess just before we move on to that, guys, let's give our rating out of 10. What do you guys think?
Either a 7 or 8.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd also give it around to the 6 or 7 mark. It's slightly above average.
Yeah,
it's held back by its story.
Yeah, and I would agree with Irby on this one. Also, 7 or 8. Like it's as a movie itself, it is as a movie itself because of the story and its different problems that are in it. It is a 7 or 8. But in terms of actually empowering blacks and things like that, I would say it did a very good job in that.
Yeah.
Which is why I think that's why there's so many people going to watch it. Like that is definitely either a 9 or a 10 in terms of the empowering.
But the next person who comes up to me and does the Wakanda Forever salute, and I ask them, "Have you seen the movie?" and they say no, is getting stabbed in the eye.
Yeah, that happens a lot with you. They go Wakanda Forever to
and
you,
I go,
and then...
"Oh, did you watch Black Panther?" No.
Well,
fuck off! Why? Why? Go watch the movie, you buttwipe. If you're gonna do a movie salute, at least have the decency to watch the movie.
Exactly. But okay, Erbia, let's move on to what other people are saying. What would you like to start with? Because there's quite a lot.
I would like to start out with the group that's trying to get the Rotten Tomato score down. This is the same group that's partially responsible for the Rotten Tomato score going down for Star Wars The Last Jedi, so I can applaud them on that. Their problem with this movie is not necessarily Black Panther, Black Empowerment, none of that. Their problem is with Disney. So, I can understand them.
Look, I can understand they have a problem with Disney, but in the same light, blanketing all their movies as bad.
Yeah,
that doesn't help.
You could say, I'm never watching another Disney movie again, and that I can support if you hate Disney. But saying all their movies are bad because it's Disney is stupid. That's not a intelligent argument to make, and you weaken yourself by making that argument.
Yeah, and also this whole thing of this group saying that they were responsible for The Lost Jedi. No, let's be honest.
Most people did not like it.
Lost Jedi sucked. That's why it got such bad scores. Rotten Tomatoes even said that there was nobody manipulating the scores on their site. These are just some people who saw a possibility to increase their fame, and they were like, "Okay, let's do this." And their reasoning is stupid. Like Margin pointed out just now. Why do this? What's the point of doing this? You're against Disney.
Then
But
go watch their
Then
movies.
don't go watch
Don't buy
their
their
movies.
products.
Don't buy their
Boycott
products, yes.
them. Saying that a movie that's relatively good is worse than it is, that's...
Yes, because...
It's not that
because
you're attacking the wrong thing. You're attacking the opinion polls of people who just want to watch the movie.
Yes. How is that going to help in the long run? Like, the reason why The Last Jedi didn't do as well is because it genuinely was a awful movie. You know?
Yeah, it kind of sucks we
lower-
can't boycott the movie because, like, we should do a review on all the Star Wars movies.
Yeah, but in terms of Black Panther, though, why would you
Black
lower the
Panther
score?
has nothing
Why?
to do with Disney,
yes.
aside from the casino scene.
Yeah,
But
well, okay, and also that Disney owns Marvel, but why would you boycott Black Panther, and why would you lower its score when it's not? It's not an
Plus,
awful
it's not
movie.
really
It's a good movie. It's not a bad movie. It's
plus,
not
it's not
like
fair
The
to
Last
other
Jedi.
people who want to know what the movie is like. Years from now, when this problem has blown over, and someone looks back when these movies are considered classic movies,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
someone looks back and says, "Oh, guess this one sucked." It's not fair to them, who really want to know what the honest rating was of a movie.
Yes, exactly. And that's the main issue.
The thing that I was confused, though, about this whole news article is that Facebook actually took down their group, which I'm, like, thinking, you gave them, like, I don't know if there's the word in South Africa, but here it's called clout, like, you know, brand name recognition. Like, you gave them so much clout
Look.
by even addressing they exist and removing them. Like, they got so much
Urbia,
more news attention
listen.
because of Facebook doing that.
Urbia, listen.
What?
This is what Disney have been looking forward to. They wanted someone to do this shit so that they could justify the score on Rotten Tomatoes for The Last Jedi.
You think
They
so?
wanted someone to do this. Yes, this is what I think so. Because this group didn't exist until now. Why didn't they say beforehand that they were doing this for The Last Jedi? Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why would they be
No,
silent
no.
until now? What was
True.
the point?
True,
What
true.
was the point of
Yeah,
being
and now they're
silent?
trying to hop on Black Panther's wagon.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Last Jedi had a long time to jump on the bandwagon.
Yes. So no, it's blatantly obvious that this is what Disney wants. Disney wants people to believe that the scores on Rotten Tomatoes are not correct. That is what they want
Yeah.
to believe. Meanwhile, we all
This-
know that The Last Jedi was a pile of dog shit.
Yeah.
I think we
So-
talk about The Last Jedi in every episode.
Yeah.
But
okay,
look,
so-
the thing is, it
but
started
with-
us on this
with
route.
this-
There's
Yeah.
a reason
Yeah,
for
with
it. It
this-
does suck.
On Rotten Tomatoes, look at the score, give it a 5% margin of error in either direction. I think you're fine.
Yes.
I don't think that they actually achieved anything or really exist.
No.
And if they did, they didn't really do
The thing is,
anything.
if they do exist, they're just doing this to get some sort of recognition, you know, and that's all that they're really
They're
doing.
trying
it
to get
for.
some controversy.
Yes, they're trying to get some controversy here, and Disney is reveling in it. They wanted this to happen. They need someone to be there to be against them, so that when they actually make a shit movie, they just blame it on these
Yeah,
guys.
it's like, no, a movie
No,
was fine. They
movie
hacked
was
our
fine.
account.
Yeah, they went into Rotten Tomatoes. It's all them. It's all them. Don't worry, it's all them. You know, and mark my words, they're going to blame these people for the Han Solo movie.
Ah, right,
Mark
right.
my words, right now they will blame them for the Han Solo movie, like without a doubt. But okay, Urbia, moving on to the next next. Point.
I mean, there's some news articles here. One of them is not. I'll just briefly mention it. I don't know if we can really talk about it too much, but in one of the music videos from the soundtrack, there is a copyright or a trademark issue with one of the paintings used in the background, which I'm surprised that made it into the news.
That
But
is actually true.
yeah,
It's such a
so
weird thing to write an article about.
Yeah. I
There's
was
a copyright issue in a music video. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Who was it? Was it Kendrick Lamar?
yeah. For the music video, which one? No, I don't have it here on my thing, but the painting is called Constellations 1, which was made in 2016 by someone named Victor.
That is okay. Just to give this quick context, me and Urbia had a teacher in uni who was our accounting teacher, and his name was also Victor, so that's why.
The infamous Victor.
Yes, infamous Victor.
Yeah, but the thing I want to talk about is like some people cautioning that the movie is not what it seems to be in terms of black empowerment. The writer even saying, this is in quotes, "If we behave as though purchasing a ticket to see a film produced by Disney is a form of resistance, we fail to distinguish between black art that touches on revolutionary themes and the actual work required for revolution itself." So,
yes. No, exactly. That's true. If you want to have a revolution, don't buy a ticket from Disney, who have been known throughout history as being one of the most racist and bigoted companies.
Well, Disney was a Nazi.
Yes,
Yes.
Exactly. And it's like, yes, the movie is, but you know what? You know what the problem is? The movie is being empowering, but you know what the problem is? Is that Disney are not doing it for the sake of being empowering.
It's marketing.
Yes, they're doing it because they know that it is good marketing, and that they will earn the money that they want. And that is the issue here, is that you simply going to buy a ticket to go see this movie is like the writer. Okay, I'll try and say the name. Kanya Kondlo Nchala.
I think that's pretty good.
I'm sorry if I messed up the name. But, you can't expect a revolution to happen just by buying a ticket for a movie that does have black empowerment in it, when you know that the movie was made by some of the most racist and bigoted people in the world. They will use any method they can to sell you on what they are selling.
Well,
Yeah.
I think you told me the best story that symbolizes this. There was a man who was deeply religious. And this was around the time where the Da Vinci Code came out. And he went to his priest and asked whether or not he should go and watch the movie, or whether this will corrupt his faith. And the priest, to his credit, said, if a movie can corrupt it, it wasn't strong in the first place.
Your faith wasn't strong enough.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when it and I think we can translate that to this movie as well. If a movie elicits a strong racial response or anything like that, you're taking the movie too seriously. It's a movie. It's literally just a superhero movie. You really want to address race issues? Go out there and attend the protest. Attend the lecture. Give a lecture. Attend the forums. Donate to a charity. Going to watch a movie. What did you do? You went to watch a movie. 3 days from now, you won't feel anything for it anymore.
If you really want, if you want to use this as a stepping stone for racial empowerment, if you see this and then you say, okay, this has empowered me, and now I want to go and I want to do something.
This is not the last step. There are steps ahead.
Yes, exactly. Don't see this movie and then just say, okay, we have been heard, okay, everything is fine now, because that's not what's going to happen. If you want to move forward, you need to take the next step. You need to be empowered, and then use that empowerment to move forward.
First things first, if you feel this movie has empowered you, first things first, read the literature. There's nothing worse than someone going on the news and quoting bad history.
Yes.
When you get the knowledge, then you attend marches, attend rallies, speeches, and, wild step in the dark, vote.
Yes. And that's a good point for the last thing that I would like to mention. But Urbia, you know a little bit more about this. The interview with a former Black Panther, one of the actual movements back in the day.
Oh, the Black Panther movement?
Yes.
Oh, the
There
US
was an
one.
interview with the former Black Panther on RT.com. We'll put the link for you guys in the description.
Oh, the US Black Panthers.
Yes, the US Black Panthers. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These guys were hardcore. Though they're currently labeled as a terrorist group, but that's bullshit. Like, they're labeled a terrorist group, but the KKK is not. Like, are you
No, exactly. No, it's complete fucking bullshit.
This what racism in America? No.
Oh, yes. Fuck that. Yes, that is so stupid. That is so stupid. Like, no.
Yeah, well, okay, this is
the
the
thing
same.
all you have to do is just look through the history books, and you immediately see that is absolute bullshit.
Yes, but remember, this is the same country. There was a massive problem in the U.S. where, remember the Japanese internment in America? Yeah, a lot of people in the U.S. felt that portrays their country in a negative light and removed it from the history.
There was an official Nazi party after World War II that could be elected for office. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Jeez.
So,
are you serious?
if the Black Panthers are a terrorist group, I'm 6 feet tall with the ability to fly. Only one of those things is true.
Yes, you can fly.
Yeah.
But basically, this guy was a former leader, and basically he said, the movie is fine, but, like, at the same time, like, they're taking away the name Black Panther, which used to mean a form of resistance, and applying it to a superhero, which, like, he didn't just criticize the movie, he criticized the comic as well, for coming out at that time, when the Black Panther was supposed to be a movement, and making it seem like the general agreement back in the day where comics were for kids back in the 60s when it came out. So, like...
Yes.
Was that deliberate, or was it just a rather bizarre and unfortunate coincidence?
He felt like it was deliberate, but you can argue.
You can argue, but I feel like it probably was deliberate because...
look, the media likes to capitalize on anything. Anti-fam, I think, is it anti-fam or anti-fas? In the US,
Antifa.
Right? Antifa. Sorry. The media loves focusing on the most radical people there. So it's quite possible Black Panther started out as a perfectly legitimate organization, and then someone thought, Black Panther, that's a nice name. I'll give him a cat suit and an unreasonable amount of vibranium that can do everything.
Yeah.
Well, look, the thing is, guys, if you think about it, it was just Marvel trying to reach another demographic back in the day. Because, so from what I can understand, there weren't any or even a lot of black superheroes back then in comics.
No.
And when
when
the Black Panther movement happened, I'm just guessing here, but I'm assuming that I think Stan Lee was the original creator. He thought, okay, let me make a character called Black Panther and empower, black people through the comic.
And it ironically just backfired on him.
Well, it's not really a backfiring so much as it's just the former leader saying that. And you know what? I can see both sides. From his point of view, he wanted to make a comic that would empower black people, and then from the
leader's
leader,
he felt his cause was being
trivialized by the creation of the comic. So you can see both sides.
Yeah, but this just highlights the difficulty when it comes to a legitimate movement for something. Legitimate gender equality, legitimate racial equality, all of these movements. It's not as simple as just one big march in the streets and the governments of the world will go, oh, let's not be racist. Never thought of that.
Right.
I mean,
yes.
Whenever you start a movement that's contrary to whoever's in power, they will smear you. They will trivialize you. They will call you the mass shooting in the U.S. right now. What is the argument against them after they said the guns must be banned? Now they're teenagers. What do they know what they're talking about?
There's a lot. There's they're related to mental health, but when you look at the statistics, your mental health victims are more likely to be killed by someone than to kill someone else.
Yeah, so when it comes to taking part in a genuine revolution against something, it's difficult. And
Yeah.
worst of all, I think most people can deal with difficult. Most people can't deal with long. Revolutions are long and difficult.
Yeah.
Doing something difficult now, like moving something heavy, solving a difficult problem, having to do something that's, difficult in any respect.
Yes.
That's not what's bad. But if you know you have to do something difficult for the next 2 years,
Yes, exactly.
that's what kills you.
Exactly. And you know what? That's the problem. That thing. You just need to have that push, that drive. Because if you're just going to watch, I mean, obviously there's going to be a Black Panther 2.
Yeah. But
Obviously.
if you're just going to watch the
If
Black
you're
Panther
just going to
movies
watch-
and then write something angry on the forum, you're not part of a revolution.
Yeah, you're not part of a revolution. You're not actually helping in the big scheme of things. You need to push that through in many different forms, and then maybe you can you can reach what you actually want
in
to
the
get.
US, you can actually vote on laws, as I understand it, which gives them more of a benefit. Here, we have to choose a political party, vote for them, and hope they put forward.
No,
the
it's the
laws
same
we
thing.
want.
It's pretty much the same thing. The only thing you can
Okay.
vote for is like local laws. But like
Oh,
federal
okay.
laws, there's no vote for federal laws.
Yeah, but voting. Start
Yeah.
there. Most countries in the world, you can vote now. At least here in South Africa, we can. Although a lot of our neighbors, rather unfortunately, elections are pretty bad.
Yeah.
Southern Africa is okay, but Central and Northern Africa, they unfortunately can't
Yeah.
vote. So,
there are a lot of.
so if you want to be
countries
part of a
which are suffering.
revolution, vote. Start there. That's the best place to start.
It's definitely not the end, because like
It's
sometimes
definitely not the end.
you,
Step one.
the
Yeah.
two people you vote for, like none of them are a good option. Like,
Oh yeah, I mean, as South Park put it, you're choosing between a giant douche and a turd sandwich most of the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
that is
And,
not
you
the
know-
last step. We need to evolve past that eventually.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So, no, just keep pushing forward, and then eventually, maybe one day, use this as a stepping stone. If you felt empowered while watching Black Panther,
Feed off it.
feed
Keep
off
going.
of it and use that to push forward and to actually keep that ball rolling.
But the
Yeah.
person that comes up to me and says that they're progressive for watching it,
No.
No,
No,
you're
you're
not.
not.
You're not progressive for watching
we
it
already
because-
said that the movie was nothing mind-blowing. It had its good parts. If you feel like a rebel now for watching it,
A Disney movie, like yeah.
Yes, it's like oh, Disney's richer. Wow, you're really such a
well
rebel.
done, Snowflake. Go get me a beer.
Yes, wow, what a rebellion.
Yeah, yeah, making the rich richer. Yeah, that's what rebellions are there
Yes.
for. Just ask the French.
Like,
in
yeah,
the
that's
1700s.
never fucking happened in proper rebellions. The rich didn't get richer; they got their heads chopped off.
Yeah.
No,
those were
the French
days.
get mad at like the simplest thing. You raise the price on bread too much, there'll be riots.
Oh, yeah. Meanwhile, here they just hiked the tax up
Oh, yeah.
up our asses, and everyone just went okay and moved on.
Whatever. Yeah, okay, but whatever.
Yeah, okay.
South Africa's a pretty passive nation.
Yeah.
We're not like the French.
Yeah, no, we don't give a shit. People think the French don't give a shit. We don't. But that's another story
Yes.
for another day.
But
And
okay,
another podcast.
yes, another podcast. Yes. So, guys, any closing statements that you'd like to say?
No, I think I felt.
Yeah.
I feel I've said everything that I had. The movie, in terms of its story, was average. Although I like it as a trend. If Black Panther 2 can build on this, then I would feel Black Panther did do well. If Black Panther 2 is worse than this, then it's just a wasted opportunity.
Yeah, no, they definitely need to build on this. They definitely need to build on this. Urbia?
The only thing I can think of, I was watching Civil War the other day, and I saw like Black Panther had a different kind of beard. Like in Black Panther, he has a much more better shaped beard. Well, that's it.
It's the beard
That
makes
is-
the man.
That is honestly one of the weirdest closing
Right.
statements I've ever heard. Ever.
Like, he better have an even better beard next time. That's what I'm expecting. If he has like a good, like, I'll
Better
be like,
suit,
yes.
better gadgets, better beard.
Yes. Okay, my last thoughts are overall it was a good movie. Movie is not a 10 out of 10 simply because there are a lot of problems with it, mainly the story. Actually, I would argue it's probably
Only the
just the story. But other than that, the movie was pretty good. You know, like I said, 7 or 8 in terms of my ranking of it. And I really do appreciate what they were trying to do, even though it was Disney, which, you know, kind of does degrade the whole aspect a little
The
bit.
sincerity.
Yeah, the sincerity of it.
It's black empowerment, but it's because it's the flavor of the month.
Yeah,
Who knows
and
what's
that's
happening
the
next?
issue, I think, is that, you know... But okay, we already talked about it beforehand, and but yeah, I hope that you all enjoyed our review and opinions of Black Panther. I would like to apologize in advance, well, not in advance, at the end, if there were some audio issues. My dogs were giving me some problems in the middle of the podcast, so I'm sorry if you heard some barking or growling. Or anything in general.
That was your dog, dude. That was me.
There was a funny moment when Majin was talking about the dog in the movie, and then you could hear your dog in the background growling.
Yes, that was sound effects. We have amazing sound
it was
effects.
totally sound effects. It was totally sound effects. It was totally sound effects.
Yeah.
So I
think they bought it.
Yeah. I would like to really apologize in advance if that detracts you from the podcast. We'll try to do our best to remove that, but if we can't, I really do apologize. They were just being very unruly today for some reason. I don't know why. I really don't know why. So yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yep.
And we'll see you all again next time.
Thank you for all the support and listening to 3 grown-ass men complaining. We hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to subscribe, like, comment, and share, and please consider supporting us on Patreon. If you want to receive updates on our channel, as well as when we release our videos, please join us on Facebook and Twitter. Enjoy, and see you all next time.